Okay, sir. So good evening, teachers. And it's a privilege for me, and I'm very excited that sir has given me this opportunity to conduct this session today. Let me start. It's about inclusive education in the classroom. Now, basically, actually, what we mean is what is inclusion? It's about ensuring the students, regardless the abilities, backgrounds, or socioeconomic status, they learn together in the same age-appropriate classroom. That is, means all the students from whichever background they are coming from, or whatever be their economic status, or regardless any disabilities if they're having, the classroom should be such that all the students are getting equal opportunities of getting the education properly. So, now what is the need for the inclusive education? It's about equal rights in education. Now, equal rights in education, this means that all the children, regardless their disabilities or their gender problem, all the students must have the equal right for education. Actually, it's a human right. It's a fundamental right of everyone to get equal education. Not depending on their economic status, physical or the cognitive abilities. Now, building acceptance and respect. So the students in the classroom, they must have such a knowledge that they have to accept all types of students, those who are there in the classroom. So the peer connection has to be very good so that they are able to help each and everyone, so that one student can learn from the other in a proper way. And this exposure also helps the children to appreciate the diverse abilities and the cultures and the perspectives, fostering the proper education to each one of them and promoting a sense of belonging among all the learners. And then reducing discrimination by bringing the students from different backgrounds and different abilities together. The inclusive education helps to break the stereotypes and the prejudices. So it encourages fairness towards all the children so that they are getting the equal education from the same teacher, regardless their abilities or their learning capabilities. Some of the students, they may have the capability of learning very fast. On the other way, some students are having the learning capacity is little lesser, but we cannot just discriminate them like that. All the students have the equal right and they should have the privilege to learn according to their abilities. And this is what the teacher has to find out what they are supposed to do. There is a picture given in the screen over there where it has to be found out that what is exactly happening in the picture. Can I just come to know from you what is actually happening in the picture?
A teacher is teaching to the students, many students.
Yes, many students are there and still something else is also there.
Teacher is teaching many students and also teach a disabled student with same manner and help him to teach.
Yes. The teacher is teaching the students. The various types of students are there. We can see anything else.
Yes, we can see that the children of both the genders are there. And we can also add that their skin color is also different. Means physical and mental abilities are different, but all are getting education together.
Yes, yes, ma'am. All the students are getting the education together. And one thing we are going to learn from here is that we can see that one children is also communicating with the other children, with the other child over there. So here one of the child is getting to learn something from the other one. Now, some of the basic rules of inclusive education. First one will be to embrace the diversity. So what is it? Recognizing and respecting each other. Regardless the diversity, they should not find out the difference between their backgrounds, and they should not they should not actually create that discrimination. All the students must, the teacher has to create this environment that all the students must have the ability to learn and understand from each other. So and this is rather than creating this as an obstacle about the diversity, to create such an obstacle is not good. Now this entire environment has to be set up by the teacher itself. Then the set high expectations. We should believe and strongly believe that each and every child is able to perform their work properly. This is the first and the foremost thing a teacher should do, and believe in the abilities of the students. So every learner should have the appropriate learning so that the child can also accept the challenge and go on further, okay, and without thinking of their own disabilities over there. And only they should not be found they should not be only given the marks on based on the only the academic performance, their physical performance, that is the games. Some of the students are good in games, some are good in some other extracurricular activities, some academically strong. So each and everything must be found out and is to be taken care of. Then about the next one is an individualized instruction. So here the teacher has to tailor the methods to meet out the proper needs of the students and modify the lesson plan accordingly so that each and every student is able to get the proper education, obviously from the same classroom and from the same teacher. Next is encourage collaboration. So what is collaboration? From the picture here only we can find out that the teacher is teaching one student over there, and we can find that that child is physically disabled. And on the other hand, the other students are also working over there. They are also learning something. They are communicating with each other, and they are trying to teach each other. Teaching in the sense means they are learning from one another. And this creates the environment, a healthy environment over there, where each and every child is able to learn something, and they are learning everything with full enjoyment. There is not any hard and fast rule that they have to follow this or that, but everything is done in a very good and in a proper way. Then incorporate the assistive technologies. So using the tools and the softwares that support the learning for all the students. Proper tools and the proper softwares has to be used. This includes the audio books or the special programs that are taking speech test or the specialized computer software, so that teacher can use it in the classroom for the benefit of the students. Then providing the ongoing and constructive feedback. Each and every day the teacher has to go on with proper feedback from the students. How? They should regularly check in with the students' progress so that the students are able to understand how or where they are, or how much progress they have to do, how much they have to improve themselves. Keeping everything has to be done, but keeping them motivated. We should not demotivate them in any way. Then we have to make the proper assessments, make assessments inclusive. Designing the assessments in a variety of formats so that all students have a fair chance to demonstrate them, to work on it. The assessment can include oral assessments, it can include some presentations, some hands-on activities, or some written exams, so that the children can show their performance, can demonstrate themselves properly in the various modes. Communicate openly. So we should maintain a clear communication with the students, with the parents, as well as with the specialists also, because understanding a student is very important for a teacher. The more a teacher understands a student, the better way the teacher is going to or present the lesson in the class. Okay, and the classroom environment will also be in a better position. And foster positive anti-bias environment. So safe space has to be created by setting a clear boundary so that the students don't bully the other students for not being able to do something, or they have to be friendly with each other. They should always try to help each other so that one student can learn something from the other one properly, and and the teacher should also not have that biasness that this student is good and I'm going to take care of this one, the other students will not be taken proper care of. This thing should not happen. It should be taken care of. We go to the next slide. That is the objectives of the inclusive education. What are the objectives of this inclusive education? We are having the three objectives over there. Participation of all learners, the holistic development, and social and emotional growth. So what is the participation of all learners? What is that? It is that all the students in the class should be able to participate properly in the class activities, in the lesson that is going on in the class. And it is possible only when the environment is created. The environment is a better one. The primary objective of this inclusive education is to ensure that every learner is actively participating in the process, in the learning process, obviously regardless their abilities, their disabilities, their language problem, or their socioeconomic background. Inclusive classrooms provide that equal opportunity to all the students in the same class, which by removing the barriers to learning environment, every child should feel valued and they should include and be capable of contributing in the learning community. That is, and this is possible only when the teacher has created such an environment in the classroom that the child feels valued and is unable and is not worried about what is going to happen. If I ask a question, then might some other students laugh at the child, or might the teacher doesn't feel good. What a question is this boy or girl asking? So this environment should not be created. So that if this is so, the child will be able to ask whatever doubts and clear the doubts itself, means all by himself or herself. Now the holistic development doesn't, we know that it's the overall development of a child. It depends on the emotional, social, intellectual, spiritual, moral, and physical development of a child. That is the whole development of a child. the overall development, not only in the academic field, but also in all the other fields. It nurtures the intellectual and the physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and all the other sides of the student. So the teacher has to find out that how the teacher is going to do this inside the classroom so that a child is able to learn everything and is going to develop himself or herself according to their needs. And obviously we can see that let us think that if a fish is told to climb up a tree, is it ever possible for a fish to climb up a tree? Obviously no. And if we are going to judge a fish and a monkey, who is going to climb a tree properly, so we are not doing the fair assessment over here. The judgment is not good. A monkey can easily climb up a tree, but will a fish be able to climb up a tree that way? It is not going to climb the tree, and the fish will be in the water itself. Otherwise, the fish would also have to take tuition classes for climbing a tree, which is not at all possible. So we are going to find out that how a child is going to get the overall growth, and this has to be found by the teacher itself. Then going to the social and the emotional growth, inclusive education promotes a positive social interaction and the emotional well-being among the learners. How is it so? The studying together helps the students to develop the empathy amongst the students. That empathy that is created, the compassion or the cooperation and the respect, the peer respect, the respect for each other, this is going to help the students a lot. This reduces the feeling of that biasness, that I'll not talk to that child, or he or she is not my friend, I'm not going to help that child, or that person, he or she is not my type, I'm not going to help him or her. These things should not develop in the students. So for this, the social and emotional growth is required. We can see the picture over there. So many students are working on the board. The teacher is also there. Everybody is working together. So this shows that the togetherness, the working togetherness, and this creates a very good environment for the students. Even the emotional growth is very important over here. The one child has to be very careful and has to know that all the peers are having the same right as I'm having to get the educational growth in various. Education does not mean only academic growth, but growth in all possible ways. Let us go to the next, the key pillars. What are the key pillars of this inclusive classroom? We can anybody please tell me the pillars that you can see in the picture over there? Can I get an answer from you?
There should be a supporting methodology, then accessibility. It should be favorable for all specially abled children to use the school campus. And then, as you have clearly shown here in this picture, the support system. It can be anybody in the school, anybody in the campus should be knowing the special challenge of this child or children in the school, and they should be able to have a partnership with family, supporting staff, school, admin staff. Everybody must be included. So I feel these are the three key pillars of an inclusive education system.
Yes. Can anybody else say anything else? Everything is given in the screen itself. Okay, okay. So the three pillars, the inclusive
Teaching
pedagogy.
methods.
Yes, please pardon
Ah,
once.
flexible teaching methods. So for different kind of students, we will be teaching in a like visual, auditory learners and kinesthetic learners. For them, also we will be catering to them. Also, that is also an inclusive pedagogy.
Yeah. So the three pillars that are given over here, the inclusive pedagogy, the accessibility, and the support system. So without any one of them, all the three are required to build up a good classroom, a healthy classroom. All the three pillars are very important. Without one, the robust framework of inclusion is not going to be created. Okay, when any one of the pillar is weak, the whole structure will get dismissed. Everything, it is not going to work properly. If the pedagogy is not properly done, the first thing, the pedagogy, the most important thing, I hope so. So if it is not done properly, so there will be a problem, obviously. The accessibility, the support system. We must always keep ourselves in touch with the family members, with the specialists, and obviously with the students, so that each and every time, and we are going to know the student, understand the student. Knowing means understanding the student properly, so that we can create such an environment in the classroom. And the child who is unable to, there are various kinds of children in the classroom. Some are having good, some are auditory learners, some kinesthetic learners, and various. So these students will have the different catching power also, just by going inside the class and just delivering the lesson, that today you are going to do so and so lesson, and I'm just giving a lecture over it. That is not going to help the students of today. As in our time, we can find out that in our time, what happened with us. A teacher used to come inside the class, just go on reading the chapter or just give the lecture, and we sitting in the classroom just looked at the teacher and just tried to mug it up. Now, when the teacher asked us again, do you have any doubts? What would be our answer? No, ma'am. Or we would just nod our heads in any way. So that was, in our time, we used to face those problems. And finally, what will happen? The teacher will just go on or turn the page and just continue the lesson. But still, sitting at a place at that time, we also had a question in our mind. Can anybody tell me, can just recollect your childhood, and can anybody please tell me which question that came to your mind at that time? When the teacher just came inside the class and just gave a lecture of the lesson, what is that with what that we used to think?
And my teacher was teaching that now India is an independent country. So I used to think that when we are independent, why don't the government prints the currency notes and distribute among the citizens, that everyone will be the rich?
Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else? Nobody is going to recollect their childhood. Actually, yes, ma'am said, Preeti ma'am
I
said this.
always used to think that how am I going to become, when am I going to become independent like India?
Yes, yes. And even many teachers, those who are teachers today and were students at that time, many of us used to think that what am I doing over here? Why am I listening to the lesson? What is going to happen after this? So we had the question, we had the question in our mind, but we didn't know what to do. Even the teacher came and asked us, if the teacher after finishing the lesson also teacher will ask, you have any doubts, the same answer, no ma'am, or just nod our head. And after the lesson the teacher will leave the class or just turn on to the next page. So we, even after having so many questions at that time also, we did not have that much of guts to ask the teacher, and we also did not understand each and everything was not each and everything we didn't understand at that time. Is it true or not? Everything we did not understand, we marked up many of the things just to get the marks. We have to get a good marks, otherwise our parents will get upset, will be angry with us, our teachers will be angry with us. So this was the only thing that we in our childhood faced. But today, since we are dealing with this new generation of the students, we are dealing with this alpha generation. So each and every day we have to find out something so that the students in the today's world, they get that independence of learning. They can go on with their own choices. There are so many fields, and each and every extracurricular activity that a child wants to learn will give a good profession to that child also, and obviously it will give happiness to the child. The child is going to learn everything in a very glad manner. So this network has to be built, and for this we need proper access or proper communication with the student, with the parents, and with the specialists also. And the proper accessibility, the digital tools, the materials, or the seating arrangements in the class, or whatever we are using inside the class, has to be in such a manner that the students feel interesting to use them, to see them. Or if we take in case of blind students, they have to touch those things. The braille material has to be provided properly, so that the child sitting in the same class can learn the same thing as the normal students are doing. There should not be any biasness in the class. Now, the inclusive classroom environment. Already we have talked so much about the environment. These are certain points which I found is to be given over here. The first one being the safe and positive atmosphere. Can anybody please tell me, what does that safe and positive atmosphere mean? How is the atmosphere going to be safe and positive for a child?
Means no one should bully another person or persons. Everybody can express himself or herself without any fear of rejection or criticism.
Yeah. Anything else?
Earlier, there was physical punishment given by the teachers. Now it is banned, so they should feel safe. If any teacher is doing that, then we can say that it is not safe, or they should create safe and positive atmosphere that everyone can express himself or herself.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah. Yes, the positive atmosphere is to create that atmosphere that the child is able to express himself or herself in a very so that the child is not feared at all, not scared at all to ask the questions, that if I ask this question, will this sound funny? After listening to the entire lesson, if at last a child has some doubt, he or she will not be able to express himself or herself, thinking that others might laugh at me, others might create some trouble. So, this thing should not be there in the class. Teachers should create an atmosphere, and this atmosphere has to be created by the teacher itself. The teacher should create an atmosphere where the learners are encouraged. They are always getting the encouragement from the teacher to express themselves without fear of being discriminated or without the fear of being failure. I'll fail and somebody else will laugh at me. So these things must not happen inside a classroom. Then the flexible learning spaces. What do we mean by the flexible learning spaces?
It means that a child can express through a poem, or he can show through a skit or dance, or he can draw or paint. There are many mediums through which a child can express himself, because we know that there are multiple intelligences in the students. So our teaching methods are different, as well as the expression by the child can also be through different ways.
Yeah, and that needs a proper space, right? If there is no space in the classroom, there is no proper space in the classroom, where is the child going to show his or her capabilities? So that needs a proper space. The seating arrangement should also be made in such a way that so that whenever any group work is given to them, or they can do it properly. The group work doesn't only mean that they have to do chart papers or some project work or something like that. It can be what just Preeti ma'am said. They can show it by reciting a poem, or by dancing, or by singing, anything, but everything needs a proper space, and the opportunities for the movement has to be given to the child for the varied learning activities. And then the collaborative learning culture. What is this collaborative learning culture?
Means group activity.
Only group activities?
Because every child has different abilities, and when they are working in a group, they are learning from each other. That is inclusive education.
Yes, since inclusive education is something that the entire class is going to learn from the same classroom, from the same teacher. And this is what collaborative learning culture is. And here they are supporting each other. One child is going to learn something from the other child also. All the children, means all the separate child are having their separate abilities. So each and every one is going to learn something or the other from the other child. So this is what is done, and in case they're given group activities, as ma'am said, we're given the group activities, they'll work with one another, and that feeling of responsiveness, that the feeling of responsibility must come in them, that I am responsible for this, I have to do this. So all the students must collaboratively be responsible for a work that is given to them. That encouragement has to be given by the teacher for the teamwork, so that it might not happen that one of the child is only continuously doing the work, giving ideas, sharing ideas, doing everything, and even the work is also done by the same one or two child. It should not happen like that.
Ma'am, sometimes one student can be very good in writing, but shy
Yeah.
in speaking. When any other child can read it, then he or she may feel encouraged that I can also speak, which I have written. So here the students can encourage each other when they are doing group activity.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah, this way they can encourage each other. Yes, obviously. But maximum time we may find out that when a group activity is given to the children, we will see that one or two students are just loitering over here and there, not doing anything. So that needs to be taken care of by the teacher itself, so that each and every child is involved in that group work that is given. And how is that going to happen? That is going to happen only when the teacher understands each of the children, and the teacher will just divide the work. If he or she wants, it can divide the work among the children, or just give out the activity and the children will do it on their own, so that everyone is involved in the group activity that is going to take place. Then there is the respect for diversity. What is that respect for diversity?
That is the most important thing, that we are having different abilities, and we should know each other, and we should respect each other, that the other person also has quality, and we should learn from him and her, and that is that we have to respect that we are diverse. Means in a garden there are different flowers, and they are making the garden more beautiful. So in the same way, we people are different, children are different, but they have different abilities, and together we are making the classroom a beautiful place where we can learn from each other, and that is the real purpose behind bringing the children of different abilities together. Means it is representation of society. Means
Yes.
when the children are learning from each other in the class, as a future citizen, when they will grow up, and they will become the responsible citizens, that we have to live together and we have to progress together.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yes, it's very correct that Preeti ma'am said that we have to live together. We need to respect each other. So obviously, this is very important. This respect for diversity is a very, very important thing in the classroom. It should give equal opportunities to all the participants to participants, I mean, with the participants, we are talking about the students, all the participation and for success. So success can come in various mode, not only in the academic form. So this has to be taken care of, and this encouragement has to be given by the teacher itself. For cultural sharing, many students are coming from the various cultures, so we should respect each and every culture that a child is coming from. And also the teacher has to show that he or she wants to learn something from the students itself. It is not always the teacher is only going to deliver the lesson to us student. Some, it may happen with us also that we are getting to learn something from the students. Some very small things are there that we learn from the students also. So here also we are showing the respect. If we teachers think that not going to learn this thing from any student, because because that person is a student and I am a teacher, so this way the class is not going to create a healthy environment in this way. So this respect for diversity should be there, and the communications and the interactions with each and every one is very important. So this has to be there. Then the student centered environment. Student centered environment is all this that we have told. This the same thing is that the student centered environment where a student should feel um, where a student should feel that he or she is able to share or deliver whatever ideas he or she has in the classroom without the fear of being bullied or by told something bad about that student by the other one. So this active participation is very important in the learning activities. And obviously that regular feedback is required. The regular feedback of the students has to be taken by the teacher, so that the teacher is able to understand the student, and the student himself or herself is able to understand how much more he or she has to do to get a better learning, or where is he or she now. So, how to overcome those difficulties will be learned from the teacher, and the student will try to do these things. They will try to overcome the situation and will try to learn or improve himself or herself only when the environment is given, a proper environment is given to the child. Otherwise, if there is fear of something, then obviously the child is not going to open up himself or herself. That will create a problem. So this has to be taken care of. The opportunities has to be given to the child for decision making. Okay, for making a decision, this opportunity has to be given to the child so that the child opens up himself or herself. Now here the picture is also given over there. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, today the role of teacher has become of facilitator. That
Ma'am.
yes, that he or she is giving students chance to express themselves, and they are learning from each other. Miss, the role of teacher is minimum, that he or she is just controlling the teaching environment, and students can learn from each other, because we are in the age of internet, and a student can open any
Right.
site and collect information about a particular thing, and the teacher is not encyclopedia that he or she is aware of all the things. So if a student has collected the information on any topic, he and she can tell about it, and teacher just has to control the teaching learning environment, means how much time he or she is giving to that particular student.
Yes, ma'am.
He
Yes,
has to
ma'am.
he or she has to control the teaching environment, and they
Yes.
can learn.
Before taking the class itself, we'll come to know that the child is already, the children, many of the children are already aware of half of the lesson. And we are just inside the class to control the students and find, and just a little thing that we have to do is for those students who are not aware of all these things, or those who don't want to learn, we have to just push on those students so that they are able to learn, or just they get an environment to learn the things. So, yes, obviously, that a teacher is not an encyclopedia that he or she is going to know everything. We, many of the things are there, that very small things also we are getting to learn from the students itself. It happens sometime. Yes, obviously, ma'am. Yes, and from the picture itself, we can find out that it is written over there, we are all different. We are all friends. So this thing should be given in the minds of the students also. That in spite of being different, obviously we are all different in various ways. Some there are obviously gender problem, girls and boys gender problems are there, various disabilities, abilities are there. Some students are slow learners, some are fast learners. So a child must not have this discrimination that I will not talk with that person or will not be in group with that person. This environment has to be there, or this thing must be given in the brain of the child, that you have to grow with everyone. Everyone is your friend. As we all say, you use the word classmates. So what does that word classmate mean? Classmates mean that we are all friends. Some of the student will come and tell, ma'am, she is not my friend, or he is not my friend, I will not talk with him or her. This is not the right thing, and this has to be taught to the child by the teacher, that you are all classmates. So the entire class is your friend. Maybe any special friend you must have, it may be your best friend, but everybody is a friend. This thing has to be taught to the children. And this environment, when a student inside the class will get the environment that the entire class is my friend, nobody is going to tell anything bad to me, or nobody is going to bully me for anything. So I am free and I can ask anything to the teacher. I can share my idea, whatever be my idea, no problem. I must share it in the classroom, and nobody is going to say anything to me for that. So this friendly atmosphere is very important inside a classroom, which creates, removes the scariness, which removes the fear from the child, and the child is able to express himself or herself properly. This has to be taken care of. Okay. Now, some of the challenges that we face, recognizing the barriers is the first step of removing them. So these barriers are the first step that the teacher has to find out. And obviously, the teacher has to find a way out how to remove these barriers, how to just move inside and continue the class, or create such an environment so that these challenges are very easily overtaken, or just we can overcome these challenges very easily. The first being the physical and the environmental barrier. What is that physical or the environmental barrier? Here, the barriers arise from the school infrastructure itself. Okay, and learning environment may not accommodate the diverse needs of those learners. All types of learners are there, so this has to be taken care of. The physical and the environmental setting has to be very good. Okay, and it may be found that many students are unable to come to school, or they are physically unable to reach the school or be physically present inside the classroom just because of the infrastructural problem. It might happen that a school is not having a proper ramp or an elevator, or whatever things are required, it is not present over there, and this creates a barrier for the mobility of the students. The students are unable to be physically present inside the classroom, and this is because of the physical disabilities that a child is having. And or it may happen that that child is going to take the class online. It is today, this is also possible that the physical classes and online classes are going on together, but the child is not able to learn everything that is happening in the physical classroom. So this exactly has to be taken care of, and obviously the school infrastructure, the school management also has to take care of this. Then there are the attitudinal barriers. What are those attitudinal barriers? Can anybody please tell me about this attitudinal barriers? What is that?
Ma'am, I think means students are not self-motivated to learn. They are not in positive attitude for learning.
Yeah, and how does this happen? Means, what is that positive attitude?
Means curiosity for learning. If they are self-satisfied that I know whatever I should, he is self-satisfied and not curious, then he will not be ready to learn.
Yeah. So this is a result of the perceptions, the perception of the child. Okay, yes, ma'am, as ma'am said, a child may think that I know everything, there is nothing more to learn. But actually, this does not happen. Anything, something you're going to learn from a classroom, and obviously, a teacher has to take care of it. The misconceptions, the stereotypes, okay. Some people may assume that the students with the disabilities or the diverse learning methods, there are diverse learning needs. Okay, so a teacher may find that this student is less capable, I'm not going to teach this or that child in that manner because he or she is not going to learn anything from me, so I'll not take that pain of teaching that student. Why should I? So these things has to be taken care of. This thinking must not thought of this, that this child is not physically or mentally proper, so I'm not going to take the extra pain of teaching that child. This attitude should not be there in the teacher itself. The students may face some exclusions or unequal treatment from the teacher, Because of that disability, there might be some gender problem, there might be language problem, cultural problem, or a child may be from a different socioeconomic background. So these things has to be taken care of by the teacher. These things should not happen. And when the educators, they expect less from certain learners. I know that this child is not going to get good marks, I know that this child is not going to learn anything from me, so I'll not try hard. It happens, and it happens with many of the teachers, that they think that since a child is not able to learn much from me, I'll not take that pain of doing anything, and will not even allow that child to participate in some other in the group activities or in some other things. So these things has to be taken care of. Then the curriculum assessment barriers, that the barriers that occur when the in the teaching methods, the curriculum design that is made, that is the lesson plan and all, has to be clear, and it has to be made in such a way that it faces the needs of all the students, each and every individual student in the class. The rigid curriculum that is set may not be good for me. It is not easily accessible by all the children. So this has to be taken care of, the sitting arrangements. And obviously, if there are many students in the same class and the teacher is not able to take care of each one of them, so these things must also be taken care of by the teacher itself. Then there are the systemic constraints. What are systemic constraints? That is insufficient training of the teachers. If the inadequate funding or the large class sizes, all these are the systemic constraints. And the systemic barriers are the challenges with the education system that affect the implementation of this inclusive practice in a classroom. So training the teachers is very important. The teachers, obviously, this inclusive education training has to be given to more and more teachers, so that they come to know about it, and they try to follow each and everything inside the classroom as much as they want, and they should do it actually. The funding should of the school must be such that the technologies or the spaces or whatever thing, the basically it depends more on the technology. It has to be taken care of by the school, and the proper funding must be there. So these are all the systemic constraints. Next we'll go, there is a case study over there. Just go through the case study and find out. The questions are also given over there. Yes, now the question is, what are the barriers and the learning or to learning and participation?
Ma'am, she can.
Barrier is
Yes.
barrier is about
What is obstructing the child from learning?
that is she's physically challenged, so her hearing impairment
Yeah, the child is
and
having hearing impairment. So
and
what? Yes, ma'am.
so when a teacher has to say, she should stand in front of her and then only say her, so that she can hear the voice clearly. because there will be many voices which she cannot hear properly. That is the main reason she cannot hear properly.
Okay. So that is the inclusive strategy that the teacher can use. Anybody else can say anything more about it? What are the inclusive strategy can be used?
Ma'am, she can be given a seat with a classmate who is friendly with him, or Sazia, so who is friendly with her and can explain things to her.
Yeah, but yes.
Sign language can be used.
Yeah, sign languages can be used, but obviously the teacher has to know about it. The teacher should know everything about the sign language. Or can we show something to the child and so that the child can will be able to understand?
If we are the teacher is writing instruction also on the blackboard or the smart board, then it may be useful.
Yeah, then also it may be useful for the yes,
By
the
showing
child.
some charts also.
Yeah, some charts, pictures, some good attractive pictures along with some writings can be given so
Ma'am,
that the child is
yeah, picture writing, ma'am.
yeah.
Or maybe a video clipping also can be
Yeah, ma'am.
shown.
Video clippings can also be shown so that the child is able to understand from that. Yes.
And there are
Use
video
of
clippings
PLM,
which
ma'am.
has no,
Yeah.
there are video clippings which is having the sign language explanation. So one or two such videos can be used.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So these are the things how we can, yes, these are the inclusive strategies that a teacher can use for a student like that. Okay. Now, what is the role of a teacher? As ma'am said, that today's teachers are facilitators. They are not just teachers, they are facilitators of learning. So they create an environment where the child is able to understand and is able to explain himself or herself whatever learning they are getting from the classroom. Then the classroom adaptation, encouraging peer support, building a positive relationship. Throughout the session, we are just discussing the same thing, that the peer support has to be there. Each child has to know the other one and has to help each other so that they are able to learn from each other in a proper way. And obviously for that a positive relationship has to be built up amongst the students, and this will be created by the teacher itself, so that a student can learn from the other student, as well as the student is not scared of asking anything to the other one or to the teacher. Okay. Now, how are we going to understand the diversity in the classroom? By the learning differences, by the cultural or the linguistic differences, or the socio-economic diversity or the special education needs. All these, the learning differences, we may find out that when we are saying something or delivering a lesson to the student is not able to understand what the teacher is saying, and we have to find from that this child may have this problem, so that he or she is not able to understand what message is given in the class, what explanation is done in the class. So this thing has to be found by the teacher itself. Then the cultural and the linguistic differences are there. Some students are there may not understand, as we deliver English lessons in the class, a child may not be able to understand all the words or may not be able to understand the language that the teacher is expressing in the class. So in that case, we have that freedom also, that we can use their the mother language of, so that the child is able to understand. Basically mother language means we cannot go in with it, we can use Hindi or English inside the classroom, so that a child is able to understand what the teacher is trying to deliver, or if or he or she has any problem, child can also come and speak up inside the class. The socio-economic diversity, a child may sometimes feel that yes, I'm having a socio-economic problem, I'm having economic problem in my family, so the other children might it may happen the other children are not properly communicating with the child itself. This thing might happen. So these thoughts must not be created in the mind of the child. And of the special education needs, as I said, that as the case study, the Ria was a child having hearing impairment. So the teacher has to find out how that problem is to be solved. So these things, and it is going to help everybody. The child who is having hearing impairment, that child will also be helped, and along with the other children inside the class, they'll also get a proper education from the class itself. This is the collaboration and the communication. The collaboration between teachers of what is that? The general teacher and special education partnership. So the teacher and the special educator should have a good communication amongst them regarding a particular child. And obviously the co-teaching strategies. A teacher must have good cooperation with the other teachers to teach some lesson in the class. The parent-teacher partnership must also be there. The importance of family involvement, regular communication with the parents. Regular communication with the parents will only make it clear that about a child. School community partnership, the community support for diverse learners, awareness programs on inclusion has to be done. The multidisciplinary team approach, role of counselors, role of the therapists, school leadership and administration, monitoring the inclusive practices, providing resources and infrastructure. Only inclusive practices, by saying that inclusive practices are going on in the class, this is not going to work. The constant monitoring has to be done whether it is going on properly or not. The government educational agencies, funding and resource allocation, training and capacity building programs, this has to be also done more and more. Now, the school culture, the leadership commitment, senior leaders must model inclusive values and allocate resources accordingly. So it has to be taken care of that the leadership committee, the senior leaders must take care of all these things. The whole school policies, obviously, that anti-bullying behavior and some policies should reflect a genuine commitment to equity. Celebrating diversity, events, displays, and curricula should reflect and honor the identities of all students. So all students have a special identity which has to be taken care of. Now, what is the action plan? Now, UNESCO Inclusive Education Resources, UNESCO Teachers Handbook for Inclusive Education, NCERT Inclusive Education support materials are all there from which we can go through and we can use these things for inclusive education inside a classroom. So, any one area of your practice to develop this term, if you can tell me any one area that you can practice to develop this term inside the class. Oh, the entire session we had today, any one thing that we are going to develop in the class or in new
Peer teaching.
peer teaching? Okay, anything else?
Accepting diversity.
Accepting diversity, yes, ma'am. Anything else?
Trying to create as much as opportunities, in availability of the campus where we are interacting with children. See, whatever is available, immediately we may not be able to, get the resources, but with whatever availability, we will be able to deal or handle inclusivity.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
More
Okay.
importantly, acceptance and respect from the teacher and encourage the class to accept the child. That is more important. So that is from a teacher, it has to become time to time.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for joining the session, and I think we can go on now. So this is what I
Thank
had.
you, ma'am. It was really a nice session I had. Generally, I won't speak, but I felt really I have learned something how to handle the children. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, dearest participants, we request you to come forward and give your valuable feedback to the resource person of the day.
The slides were very attractive, Satamita. The pictures and we just don't have to. We don't need words. The pictures actually spoke themselves. The
Thank you, ma'am.
presentation was pictorial representation was appealing.
Thank you, ma'am.
The presentation also was very good. It was very nice. The flow was very good.
Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Though,
So indeed, it was a session with a lot of takeaways that we have had today, Satamita ma'am. I always say, and I have said this to many people during these sessions, that trainers are not created, they are born. That's how it is. So we are having a wonderful group of trainers who are born and who are associated with SNCLL. So thank you so much for that insightful session and inclusive education, all the sessions which we have had all these days. Of course, they were indeed wonderful. But today it is something, really touching the hearts of the people, touching the hearts of the participants. I was constantly hearing to the session, and it was really, it was really a session worthy hearing to. So thank you, Satamita ma'am, and I am sure that I am going to make my teachers also listen to this particular recording at school. So thank you, Satamita ma'am, for such a wonderful session. Thank you, dear participants, for joining and listening to the session, participating actively, and giving your feedback to the trainer. So I think that's all for today. We will be meeting tomorrow with a wonderful another